So now let's go into the last part of the lesson, which is arc length. Okay, so arc length, it kind of relates to a circle sector in that it's only the pizza crust part. Okay, so it's only the pizza crust part, which is interesting because remember earlier we talked about the entire pizza crust all the way around was called circumference. So what that means, your arc length is a part of the entire circumference, which is a whole, which means we're going to do similar proportions to what we did with the area of the sector, but we're not using area, we're using circumference because it is a length, and circumference means the same as perimeter. Okay, so it is the perimeter all the way around of a circle. So let's check this out in action. Find the length of arc PQ. So I should have told you, and let's see what these proportions are going to be. So whenever I want to find the arc length, I still do the central angle over 360 degrees because this is part to whole. Remember, you're constantly doing part over whole. And the central angle is a piece of the entire circle, which is 360 degrees, equals arc length over circumference. So take a second to jot this formula down because we're going to need it for this problem and other problems. Okay, so I'm going to start setting up this proportion. This right here is my central angle. So my proportions are going to start as follows. It's going to be 60 over 360. Right, so I got the central angle, I got 360. Arc length. If I'm looking for arc length of PQ, which is this arc right here, right, and which I could also see it maybe written like that, since I don't know it, I'm going to put an X just like I did in the previous problem. Circumference. Circumference has a formula. It is 2 pi r, or pi times diameter. You have both of these formulas. In this case, we have a radius. We have radius is equal to 9. So I'm going to find circumference. Circumference is 2 times pi times 9. Remember, multiply your regular numbers together, leave pi at the end, so you get 18 pi. That's my circumference, and that's what's going to go in the bottom right here. Okay, so I got arc length and I got circumference, so now I can go ahead and start solving. So like we did in the previous example, I'm going to cross multiply. Okay, so crisscross applesauce. 360 times x is 360x. And then I'm going to do 60 times 18 pi, and I'm going to do just the regular numbers together. So I'm just going to do 60 times 18, and I get 1080 pi. From here, remember that your goal is to solve for x, so which means we're going to divide by 360 on both sides to cancel this out. So remember, do the regular numbers together and then leave pi at the end. So I get x is equal to 3 pi, which means that my arc length, so PQ, arc PQ is 3 pi. And sometimes you might see the m because it's the measure of arc PQ is 3 pi. So that is my final answer. Let's do this again, okay? Find the arc length of AB. Remember that your formula is central angle over 360 equals arc length over, I'm going to put arc length like that, over circumference. And that circumference has a formula 2 pi r, or pi times d. So let's take a look at the information that we have here. So in terms of the central angle, this 45 degrees is your central angle. So you have 45 over 360. Arc length, we're looking for the length of the arc. So I don't know what this part is equal to, so I'm going to put an x. So I got this, I got this, I got this. Circumference, I got to figure out. It looks like we have a radius is equal to 12. So I'm going to use this formula right here. Circumference is 2 times pi times 12. Remember, multiply your regular numbers together. 2 times 12 is 24. So your circumference is 24 pi. We're going to do exactly what we did in the previous example. We're going to crisscross, right? Cross multiply in order to solve from here. So I get 360 times x is always 360x. Hopefully you're picking up a pattern when you're looking for arc length. And then I'm going to do 45 times 24 pi. Remember that you multiply the regular numbers together. Okay. So what do you know? I'm getting the same exact value as the previous one. You want to solve for x, so we're going to divide by 360 on both sides. And remember that you're only going to do this with your regular number. So 1080 divided by 360 is equal to 3. So this arc length is also equal to 3 pi. So the measure of arc AB, which is often written like this, is equal to 3 pi. That would be your final answer, and I'm sorry for the chicken scratch. Okay, notice when you're looking for the arc length, where your x is going to be. The reason why I say that is because this one is a little bit different. Okay, so for this problem right here, we're actually trying to find the central angle. So when I'm doing the formula, central angle divided by 360 equals arc length, and I'm going to abbreviate length over circumference. Where do you think x would go in this formula? So where do you think x would go in this formula? Go ahead and take a moment to answer that question. So since we don't know the central angle, that means that we're looking for this angle right here. We don't know what it's equal to. So my formula actually starts off a little bit differently. I'm looking for a piece of the entire circle, which is 360. 15 pi is from P to Q. So this is actually your arc length. So I have x for my central angle. I got the 360 in there. I got my arc length. I need to find my circumference. It looks like my radius is equal to 18. So circumference is equal to 2 pi times 18. Okay, similar to what we've been doing in every single problem up until now. You're going to multiply our regular numbers together. So I get that circumference is equal to 36 pi. And that number is going to go down here. Okay, so a couple of things can happen at this point. So at this point, you could cross multiply and then divide. You also could notice that in this fraction right here, you have a pi on top and a pi on the bottom. So the pi's cancel out. So really you have x over 360 is equal to 15 over 36 because your pi's canceled out. And then you can cross multiply. So when you cross multiply from there, we get 36x is equal to 360 times 15, and I'm definitely doing this on my calculator. I get 5,400. Then I divide by 36, divide by 30, that's a 6. And I get x is equal to 150. Remember, this is in degrees because it was an angle, so the central angle is equal to 150 degrees. And you still use the same formula, but you put your x somewhere different, and then you solved according to that. Okay, so now you're going to finish 3 more problems, and then you are good and you're done for the day.